All right. What's going on? Atlanta Bird Gang. Let's try that again. Atlanta Bird Gang and beyond. How y'all doing out there today? Wins like this are super bittersweet. And I tell you why. Let me make sure I put it out there. I am extremely happy as a Falcon fan anytime we win a game. Anytime. The Atlanta Falcons today won the game 43-6 over a team that a lot of folks out there think has an opportunity to make some hay in the playoffs. Good running game, resurgent Derek Carr. So-so defense. Was never really that impressed with defense even coming into the game. But there are a lot of folks that, because of the way, really, if you base it on just the two games that they played against Kansas City, that's honestly what people are kind of going by. They won against Kansas City, and you could argue probably should have swept Kansas City. And I think there are a lot of folks out there that think because of that they are, a threat for the Super Bowl. I tell you what, they got exposed today. That was a horrible loss for the Raiders. And more importantly, a great win for us. We get off the snide that New Orleans game. Still, because it's New Orleans, lingers kind of like that little aftertaste, that little acid reflux that stays up in your throat that doesn't quite go away after a while, kind of sticks around just to let you know it's there. It's still there, and we still remember them come next week. But for the time being, we'll take the win. Atlanta 43. 43. And the Raiders 6. They didn't score a touchdown. Would love to hear that locker room after John Gruden. What's up? Kenzel says, Steve, great game. I believe you should be your next GM, and your friend Mr. Harris should be the head coach. Right. So let me tell you something. The ego John Harris would have with any opportunity to run a football team, I think that relationship would last with me and him probably if I stretch it out about 15 seconds. But I appreciate it, man. We're not built for zone. Yeah, and that was key, King, because it's not like they didn't have decent receivers. And when you go man, you're going to probably get beat once or twice. You're going to get beat once or twice. No doubt in my mind. There's no need for anybody to try to pretend like every single team is gonna win every one-on-one matchup. It's not gonna happen. But I will tell you this. The future of one of our cornerbacks is gonna be nice. Mr. A.J. Terrell played an overall really solid game. He made a couple of things there, but again, you're a cornerback. You're playing man. You're gonna take a couple of lumps. But for the most part, really good game from AJ. I'm going to tell y'all who else played really good today. And nobody said his name, but I watched defensive line play especially. Dude, they were straight up tackling 97 today. Straight up tackling him. And he drew one holding call. They were straight up tackling him today. Grady does not get the love he should get. I think the only thing that holds Grady back right now is because he doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have sack numbers. He doesn't have the numbers that you need to accompany the All-Pro moniker. But if you see the guys that they are using to basically set him up for a clip every time. One goes high, one goes low. Look at it. Don't believe me? Go back and look at the film. Grady Jarrett is the most nameless baller right now on this defense. And the only problem is we don't have anybody else to help him on the line right now. Dante made a couple of okay plays, but he should for the money we're giving him. But we got to get some help for him on defensive line. Our linebackers today. Foye Oluokun. I say it again, and I'm going to say it till the cow comes home. They need to be getting that contract together right now. If you let him leave this team, that's going to be a huge mistake. Huge mistake. C-Dot says Raiders are going to be home with us during the playoffs. Raiders, Tidy says that dude is eating Justin. Oluokun is becoming an all-pro. Absolutely. And let's give a little love for our buddy Debo, who gets his annual pick 6 of the year. This stuff is becoming old news. Debo gets at least one a year. It frustrates me as a fan. I'm not here to dog the Atlanta Falcons today. When you win 43-6, listen, 3-7, I understand. I get it. I'm mad. I'm still ticked off at management for not making a move with Dan Quinn earlier. I get all that. But we won today. And not only did we win, they dominated. And I was saying a couple of games ago with that Minnesota game, Minnesota is not as a complete team as the Raiders. The Raiders have been playing some pretty decent ball. And again, took the Super Bowl champs to the edge last game and beat them the game before. So this was not a scrub team that you played against today. With all that, I say, give kudos to Coach Ulbrich for a great game plan. I know Jacobs got hurt late, but guess what? He was still not a factor before he got hurt. Anybody don't believe me? Try me. Great game call from him. Defense stood stout. Not one touchdown today. When you hold an NFL team to no touchdowns, you're doing your job. Last week, everybody was talking about how great the New Orleans defense was and should be when you put the quarterback on the field 8 times. The defense won this game. I'll give a shared MVP today to the entire defense. Really good game plan. Reynolds came to play. Mariner came to play. Oluokun came to play. Debo came to play. Fowler came to play. That's coaching. No missed tackles. Significant missed tackles. There was a couple. But no significant missed tackles today. Is that enough to keep a job for Morris or Ulbrich? I honestly don't think so. And that's not me being haters against them. They're coaching my team to a victory. I'm going to give them credit. Might be a little too late. Maybe. But I do feel like a 43-6 win over a possible playoff team is a really good showing. Carr wasn't hurt. Again, Jacobs didn't get hurt to the fourth quarter. Waller didn't limp around. Atlanta beat them today. Atlanta out-physicaled the team. When's the last time you say Atlanta out-physicaled a team? And the frustrating thing, again, about it as a Falcon fan is because you see the potential of these cats and you just go back to Dallas, Chicago, Detroit, Carolina. You give me 50% of what you had in this game in those games, you're talking about 7-3 for us. So you can't start at game 6 and decide we're going to play this tough ball. You have to start at game 1. And those aren't superstars on our side of the ball making plays. Mariner is not a super. Mariner's one of those I'm inactive guys. I see Perry came over here and talk about Young Wei Koo. Let me tell y'all something. As much as we thought our kicking wolves were in trouble 2 years ago, I think we're in good hands. I think we're going to be in good hands in the kicking game. His knee bent forward, y'all. Did y'all see that when the guy rolled? His knee bent forward. And not only did he come back and kick another field goal, dude just hit a 54-yarder a second ago. Straight down the middle. We solid at kicker. And that shouldn't be a hard negotiation. I'm sorry, keeping up. I know y'all got a lot of comments tonight. Tidy, what's going on? Said we're 3-point underdog at home. We were a 3.5-point underdog at home. Good win for us. Justin said, I don't know. You know how blank is these second half season finishes. Yeah, the only thing is, here's the problem. This year, you got rid of the general manager this year. If you kept TD, I would say Raheem's chances might improve. But the fact that you got rid of Thomas Dimitroff as well, whoever the next GM coming in here, they don't want to look at what was not going right. You're going to have a couple of redeemable parts. But if I'm a new GM coming into Atlanta, I want my opportunity to do it my way. Your way hasn't worked the last 3 or 4 years. So why would you bring in a new GM if you want to do the same stuff over and over again? So while I heavily applaud today's efforts from Morris and Ulbrich today, I still say the future, we still have a lot to do. Atlanta ran through the Raiders' mouthpiece today. Yeah. So I know it might not happen, but Raheem and Ulbrich should be in their 2021. I feel that they are holding the team accountable on both sides of the ball. But here's the problem. Here's the only other problem with that. It's not like those guys weren't in the office when the 0-5 was happening. It's great to feel happy, joy right now at this second after 43-6 win. But wasn't Morris the DC on those teams? The team that lost to Dallas, the teams that lost to Chicago, the team that let them go down the field against Detroit. I'm not saying I don't see the good, but I'm also saying we still have remnants of the bad. And I think last week was a really good reminder. Now, if you take care of business against the Saints, I might have a different opinion. But you can't be this schizophrenic team that shows up and bowls up and not give up a touchdown. And then in week 1 through 4, giving away 35 plus points a game. You have to be consistent. And this is not saying you don't have a flub every now and then. But the inconsistencies on this team are even rearing their ugly head with Raheem. The Detroit game, very inconsistent. You played a good first half, but you let them march down the field and score. New Orleans, I know he doesn't get credit for the offense, but he's the head coach. That's happening on your watch, just like it happened on Quinn's watch. You're held accountable. So I give credit where credit is due, but just a lot. Ontario said, "Are these my Falcons over 40 points?" Yeah, I know, right? Willie, we played a whole 4th quarter, Steve, and this game was really over in the 3rd quarter. Actually, it was. They punched the Raiders in the mouth today. I don't think the Raiders thought Atlanta was going to come with that fire today. I think you had a lot, and I was wondering how they were going to come back after the Saints loss. They came back on all cylinders, but let's keep it real. And I'm about to get to what y'all famously love to talk about in a second. Defense didn't play bad last week, y'all. Defense kept getting put back on the field because our offense continues. At this point, Dirk Cutter has a bullseye on him right now as the main reason that we can't get out of our way in some of these games. The last 2 weeks, and yes, I include today, Dirk Cutter is not calling a good game. Now, today, in spite of ourselves, Matt learned to let go of the ball. Thank you. And he learned to use his offensive line and instead of just standing there, kind of feeling his way to step up in the pocket, roll out a little bit. Got snagged it last week. Throw away the pass. Don't give up 6 to 8 yards so you can go from 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 12. Throw the ball away a little bit. A little bit better this week. Little bit. Some bad play from Hayden Hurst today. OZ made a few mistakes before he had a touchdown. Should have had that. Thank God for Koo on a couple of plays. This game should have been over in the first half. They learned how to score touchdowns in the second half. I think the Debo touchdown kind of helped out. Robert says we need new blood in the organization. I agree. Armani Newsom said Morris was not the DC. Morris was the DC. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Armani? Morris was the DC going into this year. I don't know what you're talking about. You got to come back on that one. The DC for this team was Raheem Morris before Quinn got canned. Olbrich was the linebackers coach. Morris got moved from assistant head coach to the DC at the beginning of this year. Gonna have to come back with me on that one. Tidy says, got to start over totally with our coaches too. I wish Raheem all the best, but you can't halfway do it. And when you rebuild, you got to do it all the way. That's the problem. You hit it right on the head, Tidy. If you had any thoughts of keeping Raheem, then you don't fire Thomas Dimitrov. Then you don't fire Dan Quinn. Raheem was a pretty big part of that coaching staff. Raheem has been in lockstep with Dan Quinn. He's been the assistant head coach since, do I want to say the Super Bowl year? And then he took the DC job earlier this year. You can argue he has been part of the problem. Now, as far as attitude and the way they're playing much better. Even in the Saints game, offensive ineptitude has cost them the game for the game against New Orleans. The defense was doing well. Not say balling, but they were doing well. They had little gadgety Taysom Hill back there, and hopefully they'll get some more film and learn how to play him correctly. But the defense has not been horrific. Robert says Raiders played nothing like they played against the Chiefs. They underestimated us. And you can't underestimate that. And that's on them, Robert. Shame on them. You can't underestimate a team in the NFL. Any team could be. Somebody was saying it. I forgot what coach was saying. Any team could be anybody on any day. It comes down to about 3 plays. And the 3 plays don't have to be back to back to back. But you talk about 2 to 3 plays during the game that turn to make a game go in your direction. I think with the Raiders today, I truly think the Debo play kind of stretched it out. But you can kind of name all of the turnovers that the Raiders had. All the turnovers kind of hurt them today. And they don't turn the ball over. They're not that bad. Sherman said, if you notice, you didn't hear Oliver's name, so he's doing something right. Yeah, I guess so. I guess the Raiders said that they were going to pick on AJ today. AJ Terrell got a little bit more spotlight than he probably wanted today, but good for him. No touchdowns. Good play. Justin says, notice how much better the D-line is playing since Tack left. Yes. Still want to get in there a little bit more. I'm greedy. They were getting in there a little bit, but I need to get in there more. A lot more. There's no reason why they couldn't have sacked Carr more today. They were coming close. But you gotta keep rolling. You gotta keep rolling. So when I think today, what scares me about going into next week is that you still have Matt Ryan doing some of the same things that he was doing in the New Orleans game. I don't know whether those hits shook him or something, but he looks like he's a little nervous back there. Is that just me? Did I see something different? I'm not one of those hate on Matt Ryan guys, if y'all know me by now. But he looked a little different today. He looked a little nervous, which maybe he needs to play nervous. I saw him ticked off a couple of times. Maybe he needs to play ticked off. Still not a great game from Matt. Not a great game. But if your defense is playing like that, I don't need you to have a great game. Running game is going to be a little bit slanted because, to be brutally honest, most of those rushing yards didn't come until the Raiders were a little bit behind and didn't have anything else to do but kind of sit back. Ito got some extra yards, extra numbers that he normally wouldn't have got. But I'd still say the running game has a long way to go. Robert says, we just don't have pass rushers. We play the run. We play the run well, but no outside speed rushes, no impact. That's what Fowler was supposed to be. Is it really going to be, say, Smith and Hill look good, though? At times. I'm not going to say that they suck, but at times. I had the box score up a second ago because I want to keep it real. I don't want to I don't want to not give them credit, but I don't think they balled. Here we go. Ito Smith, 12 carries, 65 yards. Let's keep it real. That was in garbage time. If that had been the starting, I don't think that would have been the same. Brian Hill, that's the numbers you really want to look at. 13 for 55, 4.2. Now, the thing about those yards is the Raiders were starting to get behind a little bit. So when we were going back on the field, we were going up against a tired defense. And that's what you do. You are supposed to rush the ball. 32 carries, 125 yards, 3.9 average as a team. You still want that yards per carry to be somewhere between 4 and 5. 4-yard runs make second down easier. 4 and 5 yard runs open up the playbook a lot more. When you're getting 2 yards on a run, you're basically still at first down. So we need to improve that running game. I'm not saying they suck, but it wasn't, I wouldn't exactly, whatever. Robert said, hello, I know I was being optimistic. No, I'm not here to, listen, it's Christmas time. I'm not here to damper optimism. So I apologize. I wasn't trying to be a Doubting Thomas at the time. But I just say there are things that we still really need to work on. Ontario says, which is crazy, Falcons win or Nate Robinson getting knocked out last night. Yeah. If I'm getting knocked out by Jake Paul, that's a whole nother story. Brian, Tidy says Brian Hill's 25-yard run was in garbage time and against their bench. That's my point. That's my point, Tidy. You made it for me. You can't put those numbers realistically and act like Ito, that 5.4 yard average was something real. You throw Ito in that game next year against the Saints and he's going to get swallowed up. As much as I hate to say that, but he's going to get swallowed up. Speaking of numbers, let's look at what we got here. Derek Carr, 22 for 34, 215 yards, 1 pick six. We know about that. Sacked 3 times, passer rating 70.1. Matt Ryan, 22 for 39. By Matt standards, that's not good. You got to get at least, got to be at least in a little bit higher than that for me. 185 yards. The only thing I like about the 185 yards is that you had 125 yards rushing. But again, a lot of that was in garbage times. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'm gonna have. I wish you could split those up. I give half of it to Matt because it was a little bit in front of him, and I get a little bit to Hayden, who just did not have a really good game. Calvin ended up with 6 catches, 50 yards, and the touchdown. Hayden did end up with 4 receptions. He almost blew it. That was a stupid play at the end. He almost cost us not getting that field goal when he jumped over that player, because if he had jumped over that player and couldn't get his balance and would have fell down, that would have been the end of the quarter. Somebody needs to start teaching them about situational play, what to do and what not to do. He would have done better just going out of bounds. Your field goal kicker is balling, so you don't need to do all that silly stuff. Russell Gage, 3 carries, 34 yards. On the Raiders side, Hunter Renfrow, 7 receptions, 73 yards. Henry Ruggs, 3 receptions, 56 yards. Had that one big 36-yard catch, really. Rushing for Las Vegas, Josh Jacobs had 7 carries, 27 yards. That was the key right there. I'm going to tell y'all, Jacobs is a baller. And I'm not talking about just from the Alabama days. He's been playing pretty good this year. And for them to hold him to what they held him with, I think that was pretty good. I really do. King says Matt Ryan's problem is he knows them plays take forever to develop, so he worries about the line. That could be true. I mean, and that could be true. And if you notice King again, I was saying he had a different look in his eye today. He didn't have a confident look in his eye. He had a look of his timer was 2 seconds quicker than it was against the Saints, which it should be, but it was a nervous 2 seconds. It was like a, oh my God, 2 seconds instead of a, okay, I need to get this ball out. This is why, as we go into the offseason, my friends, the talk about bringing somebody else in is not a disrespect to the history of Matt Ryan. It's a welcome look into what the future is in the NFL. To be able to get out of those situations fluidly, not awkwardly. How many people feel comfortable when Matt Ryan gets out of the pocket? How many people hold your breath hoping that Matt doesn't fumble the ball, stumble over his feet, or something like that coming out? The trend in this game is to have somebody back there. I'm not talking about a Lamar Jackson athlete or somebody like that. I'm talking about somebody that can escape and stretch out to play and still be able on the run to throw the ball down the field. That's what we're coming to. That's the Josh Allens. That's the Kyler Murrays. That's the Deshaun Watsons. That's the Russell Wilsons. Those are the Aaron Rodgers. Those are the type of quarterbacks that are going forward. Matt Ryan is the greatest quarterback in Atlanta Falcon history. Nobody's going to take that away in the next couple of years unless they win the Super Bowl. And we are appreciative of the things he's done for this franchise. But there has to be a time when we start looking for the future. They did it in New England. They're doing it in Carolina. They're doing it low-key in Green Bay. They did it in San Diego. It's no shame on what Matt has brought to this. We're not saying Matt is completely washed up, but we are saying that times are changing. And Matt's ability to prolong a play or be able to escape a rush from a guy who runs a 5.5, to be able to get out of there. That's why Kyler Murray is not a super quarterback, but he's athletic and he can get out of the way. And right now, that's what I'm looking for going into 2021. I'm not saying Matt Ryan's going to be gone. I'm not saying that. Matt Ryan still would probably a good chance will be the starting quarterback next year. But our future needs to be looked at next year at that position. And the last 2 games are a microcosm of what we need to do going forward. This is not saying I'm giving a eulogy for Matt Ryan's career here, but I am saying when you see how he's looked in these last couple of games, even when he's getting out of the pocket, even when he's scrambling for the 5 yards, it's a struggle. It's hard to look at. I age. I get more gray hairs in my beard. All these things are happening as I see him awkwardly going out. That's not saying I don't love my number 2. Number 2 is the man. But I also say we got to start looking ahead. We got to. But I'll take the win. Either way. Either way. Brandon, how you doing, brother? Say impressed with Raheem and Ulbrich. Run defense is stout. Don't look now, but the linebackers with Fourier, Debo, and Walker are pretty good. Dude, Walker. Hey, Michael Walker came in and had a couple of really good plays. And that's a low pick. Look, give Dimitrov a little bit of credit going out. Give him a little bit of credit. Nice moves. Good in the lower rounds. We got some gems in the lower rounds. But I mean, just knowing that you have these pieces on the defense going forward. The Foyers, the Grady's, the Deons, the Michael Walkers. Don't know about Neil yet. I'm sure they'll address that. He might be too rich for our blood. I don't know. But all those things going forward, knowing that, I think we're going to be in good shape. I really do. So hopefully, whoever's coming in will see some of these characteristics on the defense. Brandon says Terrell is an excellent tackler. Oliver has been a different player too. It's almost with Oliver, it's the same thing, Brandon. Whatever leadership abilities that he's hearing from Morris and Ulbrich are different than what they were listening to from Quinn. I don't know what the difference was, but something is different. But you wish you could kind of bottle up all of this that you have, that we did today, bottle it up and kind of spread it out. Give me a little bit of that defense that you had against that Chicago team. Give me a little bit more of that pass rush that you had against Seattle. Just take little pieces of what you had today. 43-6, I'm elated. Gonna watch this game probably 3 times before the week is out. But you almost wish you could take the elements of a game and go back and erase what happened in the 3 games you lost. But you can't. And that's the frustrating thing about my beloved schizophrenic team. Willie says they can't come out flat in next week's game, though, Steve, or it might be over again. Listen, I don't think you're going to have to worry about them not being ready for the Saints next week. I think the Saints probably know that, because the Saints, after this Denver game, I'm pretty sure the Saints players are going to be looking and saying, oh, they did that to the – oh, that's not the team that played us last week. And don't you know the Falcons got a bullseye on that Saints game? They want revenge. Taysom Hill did. Oh, no. Oh, they going to be ready for that, y'all. And the only person I'm really worried about as much is Matt. I'm going to need Matt to play ball next week. I'm going to need the offensive line to get it up, knuckle up. Get it and push and fight like they did today. We played 43 points against a pretty good team, y'all. That wasn't a joke team we won today. That's our best win, arguably, in 2 years. And I know I said that against the Minnesota game. This was way better than that. Much better win. Man, Sheehan, what's going on, buddy? He said, man, nothing bad to say about the Falcons. It's amazing what the Falcons can do when the defense plays the entire game. Sheehan is amazing. As me and you have looked at these fellas over the last couple of years. The schizophrenia with these guys, man, because these are the same players that'll go and lay an egg in the first couple of games this year. So I don't get it. Brandon says they got some tape on Hill now. Hopefully it'll make a difference. I think it will. Taysom had a lucky game. And when you really break it down, he didn't play great. I was listening to a lot of folks after that game. They weren't giving Taysom Hill this welcome to the NFL speech. They were talking about the defense. Now, that win last week was against the defense. But I don't want to take the bad. I don't want to think about the bad. I want to think about the great. The great today was you destroyed the NFL team today. The Atlanta Falcons 43, Las Vegas Raiders 6. Outstanding win today. We'll talk to you guys later on. I appreciate everybody tuning in. doing what they do. We'll take calls next go round, I guess, when we do this thing next go round. Y'all be good, be safe, enjoy the rest of the end of this Thanksgiving holiday weekend, and everybody be safe going into the week. Check it out. Be good. Peace.